What do you have learned today in this home of Rob Baan?
Well, I think I just learned that the term impossible is not, it's not possible to use that word in this company. And so it is seemingly impossible.
Yeah.
The level of sustainability and the level of health we have not really thought is achievable. And you can see it, you know, in a few hectares of land that it's achievable, that the future can be very beautiful despite all the problems that we face today with global warming and the like. That human ingenuity and a good business ecosystem, I think, is a term that came out of Robert's experience. We can create a way forward out of that. That's what I learned here today.
You've seen new solutions?
I have. I've seen food growing from things that we hadn't thought possible, like wood pulp, that's have a very high nutrient quality and an incredibly high taste quality. And I've seen heating systems that give heat back to the rest of the world in a useful way that aren't causing heat pollution. And I've seen electricity created in the same way. So we have systems here which are truly part of a circular economy, which I think the Netherlands was one of the first countries to really embrace that concept of cradle to cradle. And Almere accepted it as sort of the charter of its city, and we can actually see it being put into working operation right here.
Okay. Sorry for this question, but not everybody, even I, know you. But I know from the stories that you are a famous person in Toronto. Excuse me, sorry. But can you tell me what you have, what's the changement you realize in your city? Because the city is completely different now.
Our city, yeah. I grew up in Toronto when it was almost entirely Anglo-Saxon, probably 99%, and the most Anglo-Saxon city in the world, and even our slums were Anglo-Saxon. And I actually grew up in that slum, which was then called Cabbagetown, and is now a gentrified neighborhood. But we've now become the most multicultural city in the world. 184 languages are spoken there, and over half the population is non-white. And I would say that's probably been our greatest success. But food, I hope, is lagging close behind as a success. And part of what we're trying to do there is to grow world foods.
And in a healthy city.
And in a healthy city. And so you can see world foods being grown right here because we have the technology to grow world foods here now. Yeah. And so we can have, you know, migration and settlement, and we can have preferences for foods that come from China or India or whatever, and we don't have to ravage the planet in order to have that. We can do it in a sustainable greenhouse. Yeah. So Toronto has a long way to go in terms of how to operationalize advanced ideas. And that's a well-known failure of the city, is its failure to operationalize. And I think what you see here is the power of vision, but even more impressive is the power of implementation.
Yeah, great. Question for your wife, because you make a lot of notes and you have a lot of questions. What is your main question for Mr. Rob Baan?
I'd love to see inside his mind to see how he comes up with these ideas. I find it very impressive, and I'm still trying to get my head around the win-win-win possibilities of these greenhouses. And I'm also, frankly, trying to think about what are the potential downsides. So I want to give some thought to that. If there are any negatives here that we need to be thinking about as we're thinking about a sustainable food system going into the future, because it is so technologically based, so high tech, it's quite almost overwhelming at first how incredible this is. And like Wayne, I'm also thinking in terms of world crops. Because we have such a multicultural population, this is a big challenge for us in Toronto to be able to provide foods that the various cultures that live in Toronto are used to and are familiar with and know how to cook with and have wonderful cuisines built around without having to import all of that food. And I think this is part of the answer of how we might be able to do that in future. So that's one of the things that excites me about seeing all of this.
So I wish you both exciting time here in Holland.
Thank you.
It was a
Thank
great
you very
pleasure that
much.
you were our guest.
Yes, thank you for
Thank you.
hosting us.